Good morning. It is April the 10th, 2018. Time to kick off another trading day. We had a great day yesterday. We caught the markets, and Mondays are unusual. They usually come in with not a lot of news over the weekends. Most everybody schedules their big news days for Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays around the globe. So usually not a lot of news to drive the trading. And kind of start off with a higher degree of uncertainty, but nobody else knows much more than you do in trading. So if you catch the trends early, if you look at the market objectively through the profile to get where that initial direction could be, you can do all right under those conditions. We'll start with our disclaimer. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact of any uncertain market factors, such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact they're designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Okay, at 5 a.m. this morning, equities around the globe were higher. Z picked up the mic and said, "We believe in globalism. We believe in free trade. There are matters that we need to address to make the Chinese economy more accessible, more transparent. We're willing to change our rules, etc., make concessions, etc., to further globalism and world trade." And the markets soared. There's a headline now on Zero Hedge. U.S.-China trade talks break down after U.S. rejects frustrated Beijing's offer to cut deficits. So the market's going to be subject to news spikes by U.S.-Chinese official about deal on, deal off, deal can be on, deal can't be done, all sorts of things. So can't trade without protective stops today, because we never know when these comments will hit the wire. Usually in the U.S. it'll be after 10 a.m. Eastern. That's when the government goes to work. And they've had their first round of meetings, and they become accessible to other parties, other people. So here we sit. Okay, first little band of resistance is 28 to the buck, then 4 to 8 for the second. So our first sell is 27 to 31. Second sell is 3 to 7. On the buy side, I think we're going to head lower. So 17 to 21 buy 1. 9 to 13 buy 2. Today is the 3-year auction, so we should have a floor. They can't move the paper if the market is in a free fall. So we should find some support for the market, and the issue is, do we find it at 12 to 16 or 16 to 20? And right now, we're definitely dealing with a B. And the selling started in Asia, and we had a B behind us up there. Today's news, Small Business Optimism Index came in at 104.7. That was below the expectations of 107. PPI up 1/10. Core PPI up 0.2. Wholesale trade inventories plus, I've seen plus 1/10. I've seen plus 0.2. Hard economic news around the world. France and Italy's industrial production was down. So the EU shows economic softening, and that's the way it's been here this year. Their economy is pausing or stalled, maybe starting to go the other way. Okay, looking at the bond, and again, I'm going to do the A split right here. I've got a B, I've got a B. We've got the 3-year auction today, so first little band of support is going to be 16 to 20 by 9 to 13, and 1 to 5. On the sell side, 28 to the buck. Sell 3 to 7. 11 to 15. Starting out this morning, especially if the stock market's rallying, I think we have a down bias, but I do think we find buyers because of the 3-year auction. Question is always when, right? And sometimes it can be as late as 12:30 Eastern. When I looked at it, gold was off. Let's see if it still is. A couple of bucks, not much. I looked at that Gerald Celente tape. It was 30 minutes, and he said the key to when the stock market actually begins to sell will be gold, and he put out 2 prices on it, 13.85 then 14.15. He said those were key, and if it took out 14.15, he said that's when the stock market should start to sell. And he does a pretty good job in predicting long-term trends. I mean, he's a long-term player, so we'll keep those numbers in mind. Well, we've come even with yesterday's close, so here we sit. 42.45, sell 1. 48.50, sell 2. Stops above 50 is the play. We've got a P right here. On the buy side, 35.37, pretty aggressive. Picking up these high volume numbers right there, and then 30.32 for buy 2. Yesterday, the gold traded opposite the bond for a while, and showed strength that you would not have expected given the news and the headlines. So right now we got a pretty good buyer below 13.15. We have had a seller above 13.50. Take out 13.57. The market next stop, according to Gerald Celente, will be 13.85. We'll see if that holds up. Interesting tape though. His comments about trade deficit, trade wars, who's in power, what's this all about, were interesting. You know, it's a part of the puzzle. It's an interesting viewpoint. You won't waste your time if you watch it, in my not so humble opinion. Okay, the euro has just exploded right here. That was yesterday's activity. We'll fold it all in, and we'll go to when it exploded right here, and off to the races. So we blew right through 124 and 124.25. So 25 to 35, sell 1. 50 to 60, sell 2. On the buy side, 24 even, 23.90, buy 1. And 65 to 75, buy 2. I'm probably a piece of news, comments by Draghi or somebody are behind that rally. Be my guess. Piece of news to do that. Crude was way up last night. Everybody wonders what the response from the U.S. will be. We put a destroyer into the area and was harassed by Russian aircraft. Russia's doing a pretty good job of shadowing and flying in between, so tensions in the Middle East picking up. Got that high over here at 65.40, 65.50. We're at 64.75. So I haven't seen a hard piece of news to take us up. The APIs are tonight. So 75 to 65, where we are right now. The area selling against 65 is trade we'll consider. Then 65.25, 65.50 would be sell too. And probably a piece of news associated with this. And perhaps the U.S. or Israel has struck Syria overnight. I don't know. Breakout came from 50, so we'll put 64, 64 and a quarter. Buy one. Pick up this area right in here. And then 63.50, 63.75, buy two. If we can find a piece of news, we can raise our price points. I'll put a question mark at 64.50. And we'll see what happens. 65 is a pretty round number. The Emini Z rallied every stock market around the globe, and the devil is always in the details. What are they going to give up? What concessions are they going to make, etc. The United States came out and said that great speech, rhetoric was there, all platitudes. They didn't like some portion of it, so the markets come off a little bit. So the London high is at 55. The spike in Asia was at 58. So we'll assume that there's some resistance at 55 to 60. So 54, 59, sell one. 64, 69, sell two. If we get through the 60 area, really the next best place to sell would be 72 to 75. On the buy side, 41, 46, and again we're going to be subject to news spikes. We've got to be careful. And then 31 to 36 for buy two. Picking up this high volume number, picking up this setback in Asia, and then right here we're picking up this P period low, this high volume number, and this W low right here. So the numbers, small business optimism index below forecast, PPI plus 1/10, core PPI up 0.2, wholesale trade inventories, I've seen 1 to 2/10. No one will pay any attention to it. The focus will be PPI. Okay, it's going to take a bit to get everything up and published. I will do it. Everything in its right spot. Back with you as soon as possible.